الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه ومن تبعه بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. We are nearing the end of Ramadan. And we are nearing the end of this grace period that Allah bestows upon us as Muslims to pause, to reflect, to take heed, and to transform. This is the month where we are called upon to do in a variety of forms and performances. One thing, dhikrullah, the remembrance of Allah. This is the month where, as Allah Ta'ala Azza wa Jal says, يا أيها الذين آمنوا اذكروا الله ذكرا كثيرا وسبحوه بكرة وأصيلا هو الذي يصلي عليكم وملائكته ليخرجكم من الظلمات إلى النور وكان بالمؤمنين رحيما. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Oh, God calls upon those who believe. يا أيها الذين آمنوا, those who aspire to be believers, those who want to be believers. I am not going to get into the grammar of the expression, but it is this call which is in the past tense in its very form has an aspirational element. So, يا أيها الذين آمنوا in its very form connotes a call upon those who are in a continuing state of not past belief but continuing and future belief. اذكروا الله, remember God, the remembrance of God. اذكروا الله ذكرا كثيرا وسبحوه بكرة وأصيلا. Remember God ذكرا كثيرا. Dhikr is the remembrance, and kathir is in great amount, in great quantity. And praise God in the mornings and in sunrise and in sundown. And then in this most profound and beautiful picture, that as you remember God and praise God and call upon God and long for God, what happens on the other side? What happens on the other side is nothing short of beautiful and majestic. هو الذي يصلي عليكم وملائكته. That on the other side, Allah and Allah's angels praise on you. It is not just that you remember God, but on the other side, the entire heavens with the supreme creator and the kingdom of heaven of all the angels around God do not just remember you, do not just do dhikr upon you, they do salah upon you, they pray upon you, they pray upon you, meaning they pray for you. You long, but they long back. You long for the kingdom of heaven, but the kingdom of heaven longs back at you. You want the kingdom of heaven, but the kingdom of heaven wants you as well, in fact greater measure. You desire, but it desires you. Why? For a very simple thing and a very truthful thing and a very beautiful thing. ليخرجكم من الظلمات إلى النور وكان بالمؤمنين رحيما. So that God may enable you, assist you to come out of your darkness to the light. Out of your darkness, out of your anxieties, out of your fears, out of your ignorance, out of your egoism, out of your selfishness, out of your materialism, out of your hedonism, out of all the darkness that threaten your soul to the light. And then this most beautiful note at the end, وَكَانَ بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ رَحِيمًا. Because fundamentally and essentially, Allah, when it comes to those who long to believe in Allah, is most merciful. believe that the Qur'an is a book of great transformative power. The Usuli Institute is founded on the belief that the word, which as we know is God's very truth, has a transformative power. And that the people of the book, and first among the Muslims, are the people of the word. And that as people of the word, they are people that believe that the word has transformative power. Ramadan is nearing its end. And each Ramadan, we are supposed to enter a state in which not just with our tongue, but with our entire physicality, our entire bodies, from head to toe, with our eyesight, with our tongue, with our consciousness, we are in a state of dhikr. We are in a state of iman, not just belief, but longing to believe more and more. We are in a state of dhikr, remembrance, and this constant state of dhikr has the reciprocal effect that the heavens pray and help us emerge from darkness to light and realize our potential as human beings. But note that if there is a philosophical foundation, as most of you might agree on, if there is a philosophical foundation for the Usuli Institute, is that the Muslim Ummah needs help. It needs a paradigm shift. And in an earlier khutbah, we talked about how Ramadan, which is this month in which the Ummah has an opportunity to do a collective retrospection and transformation, like many other things involving the Ummah and involving the individuals of the Ummah, has deviated from the path, and I tried to avoid overly dramatic words, but I must say, in my opinion, lost its way. Today, we have become creatures so much founded in the epistemic moment, and epistemic moment is simply the forms of knowledge in which we are born and a particular time and place that is so instead of original, it is so contingent and so extractive. It has been extracted from the other, to the point that we might utter a million words, but it transforms nothing in us. We might not even believe in the power of the word and not respond to the word. We might be full of anxieties, but like the rest of the world, especially the cosmopolitan world, to be more precise, like the rest of the cosmopolitan world in which we are born, we might be full of anxieties, but the word and dhikr and salah of the heavens does not cure us. Pills, chemicals prescribed by doctors is what we will run to. We might be full of doubts, but it is not dhikr and salah and the heavens praying upon us that will assure us, but it is material possessions and bank accounts. We might be full of restlessness and a sense of lack of direction, but instead of the word giving us, being a directive of instructions towards a concrete goal, we utter the word 100 times and continue on with the same restlessness and sense of uprootedness that we felt before uttering the word. How else do you explain so many Muslims will fast their day, break their fast, do Taraweeh, and the moment that comfort that comes from the Taraweeh prayer lasts but a drive home? There's a feel-good moment, but it lasts just as far as by the time you drive from the mosque to home. And you enter home and you're back again in the same world that you left before uttering the dhikr. How else would you explain that Ramadan comes and Ramadan goes and the Muslim Ummah doesn't experience any form of transformation other than the fact that some people fasted, people consumed certain types of commodities when they broke fast, certain commodities are sold in plentiful amounts, and there are rituals performed, and then we start beyond the rituals performed. The Ummah, the Muslim Ummah, instead of a paradigm shift, instead of a transformation, it either remains the same or even gets worse. Paradigm shift, as most of you know, or all of you know, that in Islam there is an Ashhur al-Hurum, the Hurum month, the month in which bloodshed is particularly particularly rejected and I lost the word that was at the tip of my tongue, but detested, in which people go to an extra lengths to avoid the shedding of blood. If there is among the Ashhur al-Hurum in which violence must be, people go the extra mile to avoid violence and to avoid disputes and to avoid anger and to avoid rancor. We are all raised as Muslims knowing that Ramadan is particularly one of the Ashhur al-Hurum, one of those haram months in which you avoid anger, jealousy, backbiting, all the types of social interactions that are negative and decisive and anti-social and anti-communitarian. But yet you look around the Ummah and you find that people will fast and continue on with their warfares and disputes and intrigues, as if all that God wants us to do in the month of Ramadan is to not eat and drink and then pray Taraweeh and then go on with our lives. Equally as important, and this is, as I said before in a khutbah before, the month of Ramadan is a month in which the Ummah reads its barometer and assesses itself. Look at this month when we are called upon to take that pause, that reflective pause, in order to induce the transformative moment, so that we are the kingdom of heaven, and Allah's selves finds us and finds the Ummah in a better state, each from one Ramadan to the next, instead of a worse state. The most that Muslims will do during Ramadan, other than gorge themselves on food and perhaps give a few alms to the poor here and there, and increase the rituals of prayer, but as I said, do not reflect upon the transformative power of the word and the reality that Allah works miracles. And it is a fundamental part of Islamic belief that you know and believe that Allah can heal you if you are ill, can mend your heart if it is broken, can fix you and transform you if you need that transformation, but not just you, but anyone else. That Allah can perform miracles, but yet many of us who aspire to belief in our hearts doubt that Allah can really perform miracles, and have broken hearts and yet doubt that Allah can really heal them. Have numerous cuts and bruises in our social fabric, but again do not believe that the heavens can transform those numerous cuts and bruises. Ramadan, and this is one of the things that has struck me as in the reading of Muslim history, Do you know that in Islamic history, Ramadan was the month in which there was a sharp statistical rise in the creation of new awqaf, new endowments for the goodness of others. In Islamic history, the difference between the people who built the civilization and the people who have wasted the civilization is that Ramadan would be the month in which you see a sharp rise in people creating endowments for education, creating endowments for feeding and clothing travelers, creating endowments for taking care of the orphans, creating endowments for Abir al-Sabil, for the destitute and the uprooted individuals. Ramadan, you would find a sharp rise in endowments that fed and closed prisoners of war, people held as held in captivity because they were. But the Qur'an itself tells you to give your sadaqah to the yatiman wa asira, an orphan and a prisoner of war. The Quran, contrary to what ISIS doesn't command you to kill prisoners of war. The Quran commands you to give your sadaqah to prisoners of war. And indeed, in Islamic history, you find numerous awqaf spiraling, shooting up during Ramadan that would make sure that those held captive are being sheltered, fed, and closed. Even if the government doesn't do it. I mean, the attitude of people was not that, well, it's the government's business and our business is to see what we're going to have for iftar. Ramadan was the month in which you saw a very sharp increase in endowments, in creating institutions that honor and respect the word. Excuse me. Meaning institutions of learning, whether madaris tahfiz al-Qur'an, schools for children memorizing the Qur'an, or endowments for this college or that college or this college. In other words, people, it's a different paradigm, it's a different epistemic moment, as I said, in which people see Ramadan come in and they say, well, we know that if we just fast and we just eat and we just fast and break fast and do Taraweeh and give a few alms here and there to the poor, we have not truly gained from that moment in which the heavens' attention is particularly on us and fully embraces us. So what would they do? They would say, well, our weak self tells us, keep your money guarded because you don't know what tomorrow will bring. This is exactly the modern man, the modern Muslim. Keep your bank account full because you don't know what tomorrow will bring. Don't the part with, and then the irony is then when it comes to spending on ourselves for luxuries and fun things, we don't have that. We ignore that sense of insecurity. Instead, the Iman comes in and says, spend on the word because God cares about the word. And the word is compassion, and the word is mercy, and the word is knowledge, and the word is enlightenment, and the word is kindness and generosity. So they strive against their lower selves, and they create that college, and they create that hospital. In Ramadan, there was even a remarkable statistical rise in endowments created to take care of street animals, endowments to take care of rare and exotic birds, endowments to take care of beautiful gardens that were documented in historical books and around the Muslim world, endowment, and even to serve flowers and trees, and endowments to take care of or to compensate workers who have been injured or have lost their jobs. That is a very different barometer when an ummah sees that Ramadan is the month of generosity and endowments for the good of all, for the good of the Muslim nation, for the good of the Ummah, and in fact for the good of humanity. Because the Awqaf did not distinguish and did not discriminate between a Muslim and a non-Muslim when it came to taking care of the ill or the traveler or the infirm or the incapacitated, and didn't discriminate between the Shia and the Sunni, unlike the insane people of ISIS and the Wahhabis and so on, who will say if you're a Shia you deserve death, and if you're a Sunni. This is insanity. This is not Islam and never was Islam. Ramadan is an opportunity that Allah gives us as Muslims every month to fix ourselves. Have we and did we take this opportunity seriously? This year, you can judge that. Astaghfirullah, as'alullah al-ghufran wa astaghfirullah li wa lakum. Bismillah walhamdulillah wa subhanallah wa Allahu akbar. نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على محمد وآله وصحبه ومن تبعه بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. Ramadan is not over. There are still days. And if you do nothing in the remaining days but tell yourself, I must reorient, reprogram, rewire my brain in the language of us moderns, in the language of the old previous days. You say to renew your azima, to renew your intent and your will, to take the word seriously, to say the word is the book. The book is how Allah gave Allah's message to humanity. And the book is what transformed humanity from idol worshippers and that indulged in sacrificial practices, sacrificing human beings and sacrificing animals and sacrificing to please the gods to a humanity that uses its rationality and its logic and its reasonableness. The Word is how God created the heavens and the earth. The Word is miraculous. The Word is nur, is light. And word upon word is light upon light. And the light of the world can cleanse you, can cleanse me, can cleanse us. The Word is what we carry, the Usuli Institute carries for itself and for humanity. And the Word is what is ultimately what the Usuli Institute aspires to serve. If you do nothing in the remaining days of Ramadan but to say, I need to reignite the passion for the most powerful element, the kalima that the Prophet ﷺ was commanded to read when in the first revelation, and in doing so, know that Allah is ever present and that Allah hears and listens, and that Allah is closer to you than your jugular vein, and that Allah with an exercise of will can heal your pains, can heal your anxieties, can heal your agonies, can heal your ignorances, can forgive your past mistakes, and can empower your future insights, and can inspire a nation to rise to greatness once again. Allahumma afu anna. Allahumma aghfir lana warhamna wahdina. Allah forgive us, and Allah guide us and grant us insight, and grant us light in our heart, and light in our eyes, and light in our intellect, and light around us and underneath us and above us. Allah, be merciful towards us human beings, and especially those who lost the way and who struggle and long for you. And Allah, allow us or empower us to love you as you love us. Wastaghfirullah li wa lakum wa aqim as-salah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala as-salati, hayya ala al-falah. Qad qamati as-salatu, qad qamati as-salah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.